And I let my life be the first way that I express my love. I let my song be my life echo.
Good afternoon, and it is the Echo Wise Parenting Show. This is your boy Goslin, and we are here in the studio with the season finale. We want to say a big thank you to the Massey Foundation and all our partners for supporting this Life 97.5 FM Starcom Networks, and for all the support in bringing this parenting show to you. Yes, 10 weeks have gone fairly quickly, but you can still see all of these shows. They're live on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/EKCO Nation. And if you've been with us from the start, you know what we're here talking about. We are talking about how can we parent better in a digital world, making sure that our children are ready to face the digital future that's ahead of them. And I just want to quickly run through some of the things that we would have discussed. We talked about digital readiness, and we said, as parents, we want you to make your child, to prioritize your child's digital readiness above their digital happiness. All right. Now, that is something that's very important. That means that we just don't give children devices and let them use them willy-nilly, but we make sure that we have intentionality behind how they use it, when they use it, the length of time that they use it, and making sure that it comes to their development, because the digital world is here to stay, and we really want to make sure that our children are prepared for it. We talked about digital literacy, which is understanding the digital world and how to use technology in a way that helps us to learn and develop in a positive way, responsibly, adds to their education and so on. We're going to touch a little on that as well. We talked about our children's digital citizenship, and we said that as soon as they have a social media account or email address, there is a digital profile online about them. And therefore, just like we are natural citizens, we want to make sure that we take good care of their digital citizenship. And we said we want them to be safe, confident, and positive with their interaction with digital technologies. Well, we also talked about digital privacy and safety. We had our guest Stephen Williams coming in talking about that, and we said that every device that we have, every device that connects to the internet, makes a note of what we are doing and shares a lot of that information with the internet, the apps that we install on our phones, the permissions and so on. And we want to make sure that we understand what rights and what information we are sharing with this, what is our digital footprint, and how that footprint can impact the future and the safety of our children. We spoke about online threats as well, and all the different things that as parents we need to safeguard our children from. And then we also spoke about digital addiction. We looked at how does our interaction with screens impact the development and the mental health of our children. And then last week we had building strong relationships. We gave you clues on how you can build strong relationships with your children. Throughout the season, we mentioned that we cannot allow the devices and the tools to be prioritized over that relationship that we want to develop with our children, and safe and open relationship where you can learn from them and when they could come to you about anything. So today we have a very special guest in the studio, and we want to close off our chat, our show with in a high point, I would call it, because one of the things we are saying is that the digital world is not from the devil. These tools and all these things are not from hell. We are saying that how we use them now, whether to add value to our lives or how we allow them to use us, in essence, would really show how it is we are learning from the information that we are sharing. So today we have in the studio a young lady by the name of Firhaana Bulbulia. She serves as the Youth Engagement Officer for the UNICEF Eastern Caribbean, and she leads a range of initiatives aimed at empowering young people, including U-Report, the Child Rights Ambassador Program, and the UNICEF Youth Advocates Program. She spent decades, if you know her, in advocacy and grassroots organizing, and her work has been recognized worldwide. I want to say good afternoon to you, Firhaana. How are you doing?
Hey, good afternoon, listeners. It's great to be here, and I'm happy to get the conversation started.
All right, so today, Firhaana, you came highly recommended from a colleague, and we want to discuss what are the digital opportunities that our parents, especially, and our families can embrace to see in terms of the development of our children and making sure that they are future ready, if you want to call it that, and the importance of that. And now, I know that you've been working in this sphere to some extent, well, for sure, in the sphere of children, and you've seen what's happening worldwide. And the question I first want to ask you is access to the internet, the digital tools, the skills that we talked about, a necessity for developing future-ready children today?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and one that we have been considering at UNICEF, particularly within the context of children's rights. And understanding the world that we live in, we can see that when children do not have access to technology and are not even literate in technology, it creates widening inequalities. Not only inequalities in their development, but for example, being able to excel academically, then move on to find jobs and be productive in those jobs, be able to keep jobs, the future of work, and being prepared for that aspect. So we do see that it is becoming a necessity. Also an argument that at this point in time, it may be also a right for children to have access to these things, because if they don't, the inequalities can be quite wide and disparaging.
Yeah, I can see already that you work at the UNICEF and you have an understanding of what's happening globally, because the way how the world is developing, technologies, the rate of change, if you call it that, has at one point in time it was 5 years, then it was 2 years. Now it's probably a couple months to a couple weeks, wherein we're seeing things that can be released earlier this year. By the time you get to the bottom of the year, those things need to be upgraded or might be even obsolete. So it's very important that we understand this. And why should parents pay attention to this and invest in the digital we call skills and the tools for their children's development?
Yeah, parents should be absolutely invested, and I'll explain why. One, in this case, parents are not the experts. Your child is the expert on digital technology in this case. But you're still the parent. You're still holding a certain level of responsibility. But additionally, with that responsibility means that you have to understand where your child is at in terms of understanding technology, perhaps understanding it better than you, understanding how to navigate it and utilize it, and also being able to manipulate technology as well in ways that maybe they might not even fully understand. And I think it's difficult for parents because technology is so rapidly evolving. And within our Caribbean spaces as well, we're always behind the game, where it's hard to catch up. Right now, young people are being inundated with information daily. It's a constant flow. Our minds, our bodies wasn't built for receiving all of this information at one time. And I think that in order for parents to be able to navigate that, they have to also be a certain level of literate, digitally literate, but also cognizant of where children are at, and how, being able to utilize technology, understanding peer pressure from friends, navigating that world is different to how we may have navigated it when we were younger. I always like to reflect on personal experiences, and growing up, Facebook was the first thing on the block, and my parents didn't know anything about it. It quickly moved to Instagram, and now it's hard for me to catch up. I'm not on TikTok. It's just hard to catch up, and I never thought I would say this. Right. It's hard to catch up, but I know that with working with young people and having kids of my own, children pick up things so quickly, and you can miss things so fast if you're not paying attention.
Right, and that is why we have organizations like EKCO Nation, who's here to help educate you parents and to give the information that it is happening. And then one of the things we understand in coming to parenting, that parenting is never a, you go, you graduate, and that's it. You don't have to learn anything anymore. We understand that it is something that you have to be constantly learning. You have to be constantly dedicating your time to understand it, is because you are, in essence, raising someone with the whole idea of how can this person add value to their world and thrive in their world. And therefore, as parents, as you said, we really need to invest in this. And even if you don't know, there are opportunities and there's so much information available that you can know, and there are resources there for that. Now, we talked about creating future-ready children and how all of these children today have this sixth sense, in essence, in using technology. But one of the things that we've realized in going into the schools and talking to children and hearing them and getting feedback from them is that there's a big difference between being digitally savvy and being digitally dependent. Now, what should parents know about this? I don't know if you want me to explain a little bit more, but you know this stuff too. So why should parents understand the difference between having a digitally savvy kid and a digitally dependent child?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think it's important to know the signs of what it means to be digitally savvy, to know how to navigate technology, how to utilize it to achieve a specific objective or project, versus when it becomes just a passive part of your life, like almost like a third hand, so to speak. And it's easy for a parent to look at a child and say, man, you always on your phone, man, put that down, or go outside or something. But it's even more difficult to look at ourselves. How often do we use our phone? Are we dependent on our phone? What type of example are we setting for our children in terms of how we're using it? But then additionally, look at the effects that phone usage has or has on a child. Are they up at night using it and unable to sleep, for example? When they use it, what is their mood? When they're on social media, is the information that they're taking in causing them to stress, causing them to have certain ideas about themselves that may affect their confidence or their ability to express themselves, self-esteem? So looking at those important signs, but you have to know your child. You have to know what who they are and what they're capable of. Additionally, I think when you think about using technology, how do you embed it into everyday life to solve problems? Because the idea of technology is meant to make our life easier, more efficient. That's the idea, right? So if there's a problem that comes up, is your child a critical thinker? Well, we can utilize technology in this specific way to deal with this particular challenge. Or are we just training our children to be passive consumers of technology?
All right. So I like what you're saying. And that is a real shift that parents have to be intentional about. And that is one of the things that we've been advocating in this, especially when we talk about digital readiness, that we see our children using technology and we think that they're so competent, they know how to do this and know how to do that. But as you said, it may be that we are seeing a digitally dependent child where there's the overuse of technology in ways that displaces the real life activities, or it fuels anxiety, as you mentioned. And in essence, that digital world entraps the child. Whereas if we have a digitally savvy child, which I think is a great opportunity that technology provides for us, for our children's development. If we have a digitally savvy child, now they're using technology confidently, using it responsibly, and we can clearly see signs of that intentionality and how it's impacting their positive development, and therefore it empowers your child. And that's one of the things we want parents to understand. As we said to them, you're there to nurture, you're there to protect, but you're also there to empower your children. And so having having the ability to guide your child in becoming digitally savvy so that the technology empowers them to do stuff more efficiently and to do stuff more effectively, to come up with ideas, be creative, and all these things, I think is really necessary and something that should, I mean, if I had to go with, if you had to do like a parenting evaluation form, I think empowerment, if you digitally empower your child, should be a key aspect of today's world. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I go back to the thing, the first comment I made, where it relates, I believe, to the rights of the child. If you're not doing that, you're already setting up your child to not be equipped to deal with the future of our world.
Yeah. All right, so we talking about future, we talking about all these things now, and we are talking about opportunities, and we just mentioned about being digitally savvy. Now, everybody is talking about AI. AI is the new kid on the block, and children are using it. So many people are using it. You got ChatGPT, you got Gemini, you got Copilot. AI is now coming into our browsers, into our phones, all these different things. And especially for parents, some parents may not be be a little fearful of AI and all of the ethical things that come around it. So I want to ask you this question, and I'm going to be specific in terms of AI. How can we use AI, and from a parenting standpoint, how can we intentionally use AI to ethically assist, and I'm going to say ethically, assist in our child's development and creativity?
So I see AI the same way, for example, traditionally I saw a library growing up, right? AI is essentially our library online. It has a wealth of information. And I think if we look at it from that perspective, how we research information, what type of information we want to research, but then being critically thinking about it. And that's where the element of critical analysis comes in, because just because something is online, just because you type in, just because you ask AI to write your homework essay,
which we don't want,
is that, what are we achieving from that? But how then can we use it? What type of information can we garner from it that then can add value to and add it to our critical thinking and pair together to be able to produce something unique? And that's, again, being intentional with your parenting, being intentional with the use. It's just reframing how we use it. The reality is that it's there to stay. And in some cases we are becoming dependent. People have spoken about how dependent we are becoming on it, and I think that just speaks to just the fast pace of our lives right now. So it's really slowing down and being able to really see it as just another resource, a library, and how do we utilize that library, really?
I think once we get over the initial fear of how fast technologies change, and some of us, especially the older ones, we want consistency. And so for us, the whole idea of AI and the rapid pace of how things are happening can cause a bit of an anxiety. So you don't know, and sometimes you don't have the time to know, and therefore there's always this wall that you just put up just because of that lack of information. But I think when it boils down, as you said, there has to be some intentionality with it, where we take, whether it's an hour or 2 hours during our week or something like that, to find out how can these technologies help my child. If we having that discussion and you understand your child's dreams, you understand what is it that they like, what they want to do, then I could see how AI becomes such a powerful tool to help with that development. Now, I know that you guys at the UNICEF have been doing some interesting things along with that, and how we can use technology to help create opportunities for children's development and to their creativity and so on. And there are things that you guys have in the pipeline, or I guess have out already, that I will want you to share a little about. But before we get there, I just want to go back to something you said, and want persons to understand this, and I think it's critical that we don't see AI as a replacement tool, but more as an assistant to certain things. You mentioned the whole idea about homework. So if I'm a parent and I know that my child is going to lean towards AI doing their homework, what can I do to guide what I would say is the ethical use of AI to help that child? Because we know that we don't want them to be plagiarizing certain things. We don't want them to replace or just copy certain things, because at the end of the day, the goal is still for them to learn, right? And for them to have the competencies that they're going through. So how can we use AI not to replace or to copy, but to really enhance and to assist?
Yeah. It has to be paired with practical activity. I strongly believe that. It cannot just be an online or a digital world. We need to have real world experiences where AI, for example, adds value to that experience, or fosters connection in that real life experience. And we could do that in really simple ways. Some very simple ways in our day-to-day life.
Right. So I mean, we look at things like I would give an example. My daughter, she's very artistic, right? She has a really good, she could actually draw better than her father, and I thought I could have drawn back in the day. And some people are laughing in the back. I don't know what they're talking about. But anyhow, one of the things that I realized is that she was gifted in drawing, and I did not. You have the opportunity, with these AI technologies where you use the prompt and it creates the art for them. And I'm like, you know what? I don't necessarily want you to be just using a prompt to create the art when I want you to use your imagination to draw it. So I could see what you just said in terms of the practicality of it. But on the other side of things, though, I see how she uses AI where, and this is nothing that I taught her, by the way. She picked it up based on, I guess, what we place as values in our home. But when she's studying, she would go practice her homework. She would do her homework questions, and then she would ask AI, can you please generate further questions in this area that would help to reinforce what I've been practicing. And so therefore you see how AI can be used as a tool now to help and assist in the learning experience, but and not necessarily replace. But there are children who may not have the gift of art or drawing, and I think the image creation tools would be great for them, because for them, I have an idea, but I just can't get it on pen or on paper, and it helps to bring that idea to actuality. So I love that. We talk about coding and robotics being something that is going to be a common skill now going forward. We talk about vocabulary and language and how AI is making that even easier to do. Like you could be, no, I'm not saying that you should replace learning the language like Spanish and English, not English and French, but you got these glasses now that as persons speak with you, you can see everything that they're saying, and then you got earbuds that could translate everything in real time. All this is happening, but what is it that you guys are doing to assist the families as it relates to digital opportunities and using technology to help with our children's development?
Yeah, so at UNICEF, we take quite a bit of time to really develop programs that are connectors to communities. And the one that I'm particularly passionate about and work very closely with is UReport. And UReport is a digital engagement tool that utilizes the power of social media. So we meet young people where they're at from 13 years and older. This is a particular program that is geared towards adolescents and young adults. To be able to share resources, information, short, fun, bite-sized courses that teach you about a number of different topics that you may not necessarily learn formally in school, but are still very important skills to learn. So for example, climate literacy, dealing with stress, emotional intelligence, working as a team, making a budget, preparing a CV, those type of things. But then more importantly, it's about building a movement of young people that are civically engaged. So engaged through social media and through, for example, polls, that is what your report sends out to guide policy and decision and inform leaders and decision makers on what young people and children want to see in spaces, so that it will inform decision making. So we really promote the use of technology and digital tools to help connect young people across the region and globally, but then also to connect them to leaders and decision makers where traditionally they may not be able to have that space to have their voices heard.
So I like some of the stuff that you've been saying just now. You said that this is an interactive tool that also does, they can learn things that you may not be necessarily taught in the classroom as it relates to, you have the emotional intelligence and all these things. Is this something that you have to pay for? No,
it's completely free and it's completely anonymous. So basically what you do is we're on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and you simply message the U-Report page or the U-Report number, typically with the word join. If you want to receive alerts on what's available, then you can also see sort of the home messaging that tells you what's available on the platform at any particular point in time. And it also sends opportunities directly to young people. So whenever we have opportunities available, we will send it to them and they get it right to the messaging app that they typically use. So it's a positive way to utilize technology to reach young people.
All right. So thank you so much. I mean, I appreciate that, in that you have something in a familiar platform that they can relate to, but it's something that is also that they can learn. And I know there are also other platforms. You got Khan Academy, you have Coursera, different platforms that children don't only use the internet to just do entertainment and to binge watch, but it's actually helping in their development, and you can help your child achieve different skills and so on that, as you said, may not be in school, may not be readily accessible in school, but they surely can access it through these online platforms. So there are a lot of opportunities for parents, for you guys to get involved in being intentional about your child's development. And this is necessary, as we said before, because it's about future readying your child, if that's a term. We want to make sure that our children are future ready and are empowered to participate in their world, in the digital future, in their digital future in a meaningful and positive way. And as we close off on the program, we just want to remind you that we have our EKCO Nation Resilient 2025 Youth Camp. The deadline for application is today, 11:59 p.m. All right, you can give your child, your teenager, the ultimate summer experience for ages between 12 and 17. 2 weeks of digital readiness, personal development, and a vibrant community built on godly values. The dates for this camp is July 14th to 25th, and it includes all types of activities. You have free lunch every day, includes your shirts, materials, and more. So tonight is the deadline for registering for the Resilient Youth Camp. Make sure you register. The cost of this camp covering 2 weeks is only $150, but that is nothing compared to the value that your child will be receiving. So if you need further information on this, you can WhatsApp us at 254-3526. That number once again, 254-3526. Or you can email us at EKCONation, EKCONation @gmail.com. This has been EKCO Wise Parenting. We want to thank Firhaana Bulbulia for joining us today and sharing so much of what you guys are doing. And I want to say thank you also to all you listeners here at the Life 97.5 FM who've been with us. Please send us your feedback, contact us, and let us know all that you felt about the program. And we have some more parenting seminars and stuff coming up. So thank you once again. Thank you to the Massey Foundation for supporting this initiative, as well as the Starcom networks of stations. Up next, we have the Starcom Networks news. So stay locked on to Life 97.5 FM.
Join the movement to change the culture, change the future. Become a monetary partner with EKCO Nation when you donate to our Scotiabank account number 456124. That's 456124. Checks can be written to capital EKCO Nation. Contact us at 254-3526, email econation@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.econation.com for more details. EKCO Nation is registered charity number 1429 in Barbados. We thank you for your continued support.